And when do I start?
Now we're ready.
All right, welcome everyone to the No Labels, No Walls Action Monday. And today we are talking about and working on the shared actions for our festival that's in the 25th and 26th of August. And it's there digitally. So let's go through everyone and introduce ourselves. My name is Mary Pakarinen. I'm with the Strindberg Laboratory and No Labels, No Walls here in Los Angeles with Michael, who's there in his screen. It says Propellipäät. And yes, we are here, sunny and hot LA. And next one, Leila, would you introduce yourself to everyone? You have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Meryl. I'm Leila from Dover in United Kingdom.
Hey, welcome and good to see you again, like always. And Ariel, would you please introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes, hi, I'm Ariel Nobile. I'm outside of Chicago, Illinois, and I am I don't know what else you want me to say, but that's what I'll start with.
We'll talk more, but so good to have you here. Thank you so much
Good to be here. Thank you.
And Amy, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Amy Levesque. I'm the Executive Director of Inclusive Theater of Western New York, and I'm in a not so hot Buffalo, New York.
All right. Welcome. Good to have you. And Mark, would you introduce yourself?
My name's Mark. I'm from Scotland. I'm from Scotland, and it's a nice day over in Glasgow today.
All
nice
right.
to be in the session today.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Here, Mark.
Thank you.
Welcome. And Emma, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Emma. I am zooming in from Evanston, Illinois, just north of Chicago.
All right. Welcome. Good to have you here. And the next one on my screen is Lashina.
Good morning. My name is Lashina Williams. She, her, hers are my pronouns, and I'm also in Evanston, Illinois.
All right. Hey, a lot of people from Illinois. Welcome. Welcome. Good to have you here. And then I just have Riku.
Yeah, I just arrived. Great to be here.
All right. Tell everyone where you're from, Riku.
I'm from Helsinki, Finland.
All right. Good to see you, Riku. And then,
you too.
Yes. And Hilpa, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. I'm Hilpa. I'm from Finland, and I'm a Helsinki-based mental health advocate with a background in theater.
All right. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Then Dream, actually, Art Jones doesn't have audio, but can participate and through the chat. So welcome, Art. Good to have you here. And then I'll turn it to Michael, who's going to lead this meeting today.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. Sorry, I have two screens going. 1 second. So thanks so much for tuning in today. Today's all about the shared actions for our festival. So just to give a background for some people that are new here, and then everybody who's listening in, our festival is going to be taking place, the No Labels, No Laws Festival on August 25th and 26th. The whole festival this year is going to be about shared action. So rather than people and organizations coming in talking about what they're doing, what we're trying to build is a way for people to create action together. So hopefully that more action will continue to be created in the future together from people from and organizations from around the world. We have, okay, great. And Dream just wrote, I'm the director with Dream Factory Media Company located in Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome. So today what we're going to be kind of highlighting is two shared actions. One is, yes, Ariel, you will. One is going to be about shared art, justice and art. So it's hope for justice in art. I'm going to just play a quick video on that, and then also just put some links in the chat for people to also see what it's about. And then we're going to be moving into building the bigger we, led by Ariel and Lashina. And I can, Ariel, if you like, I have like a video about it if you want me to play it. If not, no big deal. But I also have some links that people can look at. So, but that being said, I'm going to be sharing. Okay, perfect. I'm going to be, what are you going to say, Ariel?
I was going to say, yeah, I think that, I think Lucina and I would rather just speak.
Sure, it's no problem.
Introduce it that way.
Okay. So I'm going to just play this quick video in the chat about hope for justice. And this was done by our group, the Strindberg Laboratory. Hold on one second, let me get it. Just a second. I just have to get it, 1 second. Okay. Go, now I'm going to share the screen. More. Okay. Good. Sorry, minimize. I am. I did. Let me go to this way. Okay, so here we go. This was just about us creating something about hope for justice based on the themes of hope. And this is a collective artwork we did.
Painting is my form of relaxation, and I get to escape, and I get to just be in a creative space. Is I always play a certain type of music that allows me to be able to just be creative. One of the things one of the suggestions that I want to make to you guys is, do not ask, how does this look? It looks fine. And if you go about this with confidence, the end result when you finish is going to be spectacular. You don't have to question your creativity. Creativity is something that you just allow yourself to express it and to feel it and to go with it. And if you do that, you begin to become even more creative, and ideas flourish, and you just have a wonderful experience. And this is about fun, you guys, so let's get into it. So the idea was born, it was a collaborative effort. It's always a collaborative effort because I love to work with groups of people, and we just wanted to convey artistic expression in color, in shape. As we were listening to music, coming up with this banister for the upcoming event. And it was just a lot of fun to see what everybody decided to paint and how they decided to express themselves.
So my theme is about we work together, and this is my paint H. We see the point is here. It means when situation is hard, tough, we have to be tough. And the people here will work together. It doesn't matter how hard it is. If we help each other, we will overcome it.
And what was the words you wrote?
Is humanity, because I believe that hope is humanity. Without humanity, we've got nothing. And offering hope to your fellow man is an offering of humanity.
I hope that we can work towards ending hunger. It's really unfair that so many people are still struggling to know where their next meal is coming from. So my hope is to end hunger, to work towards that. And so I put down no hambre, más amor, because we all need more love, and love heals everything.
So that was our hope for justice, and that was artwork. So for everybody else's contribution, it doesn't have to be artwork. There's also poetry that one can create. And last week, we actually created some poetry based on a prompt. So in the chat, I'm going just to put a few links up, and then we'll go around the room, just answer any questions that everybody might have. And then I'll give it away to Lashina and Ariel. So the video link I put in the chat, and if you look on the third link, it actually has a poem. Based on a prompt. So everybody can put their own words into that poem. And that's something we can even do later if we have time for. But we did it a little bit last week, and it was a prompt, and then we basically added words from people about it. So that being said, let's go around just real quick for people with questions. Does anybody have questions about the event, about what we're hoping to achieve? So at the end, all of the materials that we'll be collecting from all of you with the poem will be created into a digital artwork that will be shared around the world. And that's the collective action that we're going to be taking. So that being said, does anybody have any questions on the purpose, on any ideas of how they want to create for the event? Any questions at all? Amy, I know you have a theater work. Yeah, so did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I just had first, if anybody is interested in participating, we do have 3 10-minute plays, and we're always looking for actors. I will, after we're done, pop some information into the chat. And if you are interested in participating, we would love to have you. But my question is one, the deadline for uploading, when should I have that in there? Because I'm going to do them as 3 separate individual files.
It's so, as long as it's before the festival, which is August 25th, because during the festival, one of the asks we had, because we have some people who are incarcerated going hopefully to participate with the art project, and we're going to be, whoever wants to can share their art in the event, and then and explain what inspired them to create it and who they are. That way, because one of the asks was, well, how, if it's a collective artwork, how does the individual be recognized? So that's a way for it to be recognized. And also, when we do the description of the actual digital artwork, everyone who participated in their artwork will be included in that description. So there's 2 ways for that to happen. So as long as it's before the 25th, that would be fantastic. Any other questions, Amy, at all?
And for the poetry, is that something that I can share with my writing group for them to participate
Yes.
in?
Yes, and the link on that third link with the doc, and I'll open it so then everybody can see it on my screen. Let's see. So we actually did a little bit of it, last week.
To go through there was totally different than here, but I get a chance to express my artistic.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me try this again. Stop sharing. We do it one more time. Yes, is it? One second, guys. It's just getting the right screen open. I can do this. Okay, there we go. I go back. There it is. I think this is it. Yes. Nope. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to. But the third link is going to be the. Here it is. I got it now. Is going to be, and I just wanted to show for everybody who's into poetry. I think this is it. Perfect. Okay, so if you look on the third link, it's Let's Create an International Group Poem, and this is led by Theater Workers Project. And essentially, what's your hope for the great sea change? So on top, by Seamus Heaney, I hope I pronounced it correctly, is a prompt about the great sea change, that there's further shores is reachable from here, believe in miracles and cures and healing wells. And then the art prompt is, let's create an international group poem. The theme of the poem is hope for justice. What's your hope for the great sea change for a more just world? And then it says, please submit one word or few words or sentence with your name. Basically last week, Layla wrote, we need to clean up our oceans and seas. Happiness, opportunity, participation, and equality. Keith from Scotland. Humanity, understanding. So basically, these are all words, and from these words will be a poem that is basically created. So you're more than welcome to add to this document or create your own document with this, and then add for the festival event. We will then collect all of it to create that poem.
Okay, and then just one last question.
Sure.
For advertising, are we going to get some logos or something that we can push out?
Yes. So if you're going to promote the actual justice and art event, you want to send an email about people to actually create with you, if that's what you're looking for. On the first email, it's on the link. It's a Google document. I don't know if you see in the second link below the Vimeo, but I'm going to open it up real quick. It's a great question. Let me open it. So this is an email that I think, is this it? Yes. So this is an email that I've been sending out to people to get people involved. But what you can see is there's the Google links, Justice and Art Festival event, that links directly to the actual Facebook event for the festival event. And then below you'll see links to our website, email, and then in the body of the email is actually about the festival event as well as how do you participate. So those are all things that you can then send out. I'm also going to attach a press release that I posted when everybody came into the meeting that people can copy, but that's a press release on the actual festival.
And we can put it on our Facebook pages and that.
Yep, these are all tools. And if you need more tools, let me know. Because the idea is we get as many people as possible creating together. And, you know, everybody, what we're hoping is that everybody with the shared action will get their networks and then their networks, and then obviously creating one action together. Any other questions? Yes, Layla.
Did you see my 2 chats I just put in there just now?
Let me see, Layla. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'll add it to the poem. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other questions at all about the Justice in Art? Any other information you need to participate? Any ideas about how you would like to participate? Hilpa.
Yeah, is it okay if I mention here for those who weren't here last week that my project for Hope and Justice, I just put a link to the chat, and from there you can download a PDF document that you can share, and it has all the info about the project, and I'm hoping that you could share it with your contacts if possible. It would be very lovely to get pictures from all over the world for this project.
Hilpa, if you want to explain a little bit and then show the flyer you created.
Oh, sure. I can show it. So here's the flyer.
Oh, wow.
And it also has like all the information. So what I'm doing is that I collect pictures of hats from people that have mental health problems. And this is like the first step in my bigger project to fight the stigma of mental health problems. And by these pictures, I'm hoping to demonstrate the invisibility of the illness, but then also to demonstrate that people that suffer from mental illnesses, they come from all over the world, and their backgrounds can differ a lot, so that it's a huge crowd. But then also the hats will show the uniqueness of each and everyone who has the problems, but also with the delicate manner without exposing their privacy. So this is my first project as a mental health advocate, and I'm very excited about that. And if all goes well, then I will have bigger plans for these hats. So keep the pictures coming. I have now about 20% of the pictures, of the amount of the pictures that I was hoping to get for the festival. So please keep them coming. And thank you everyone who have already taken part.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Anybody have questions on Hilpa's projects or how they can participate in her project at all before we move into building the bigger we? Or comments? Amy, I saw your comment. That's so awesome. Great. And it's really easy. We actually took a photo yesterday, sent it to Hilpa of our hat, but it's just a great, simple way for people to participate. But any questions at all or comments? Yes, Cindy.
You said hats from people with mental disabilities, or hats from anybody?
Basically, if you ever had like mental health difficulties, then, and I'm sure that everyone on earth has had some. So the level of the problem is not essential. So basically, everyone can attend.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that being said, if there's no questions on the Justice in Art, I'm going to hand it over to Lashina and Ariel and take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thanks. And just so you know, my name is Ariel, and you can think of the letters R-E-L. That's how I like to remind people to pronounce it.
Did I say it wrong? What did I say?
Yeah, you're just saying the Goy way. It's think of like French Ariel, like it's not, but that's Ariel. If my daughter was here, she would correct you, so I'm stepping in for her. So Lashina, you want to unmute yourself too, and we can both introduce this?
Sure.
So, you know, I'm going to screen share the Action Monday thing we came up with for this. Let me see if I can find the right screen. I think this is it. Is it? Yes. Can you see this revolutionary listening collective processing?
Yes.
So Great. So do you want to introduce it, Lashina? Like what we were thinking about doing for today, or do you want me to?
Sure. So, hey guys, I'm Lashina Williams again, and this is Ariel. We came up with this action truly inspired by what you guys are doing here. So, just want to give you guys a lot of credit just for the work you've already done, the hard work that you're doing behind the scenes, and also for the great work you're going to do going forward throughout the world. So, congratulations to each of you for joining this charge and truly giving yourself completely over to it. Thank you, Michael, also for this opportunity. We're really, really excited to be with you guys today. So the action that we came up with today stems a lot from a lot of the conversations that Ariel and I have had. We actually have a really interesting story about the way that we met. And it actually has a lot to do with the action. So I met Ariel. I actually walked into a deli one day, and I know this sounds like a really corny joke, but it's not a joke. It's actually the way we met. So one day, Ariel's sitting in a deli, and I walk in with a few of my friends. We're in the middle of a James Cone conference. And we were actually discussing the conference, super excited about it. And I saw Ariel, and I was like, hey, we're talking about veganism and food and the way we feed ourselves. And she's like, interesting, you should say that, because here's my my nutritional choices. This is how I live. And I sat down and spoke with her. And ever since then, Ariel and I have sat down and had some really, really interesting conversations, challenging one another, encouraging one another, offering different perspectives to one another. And so this is what we saw when we thought about revolutionary listening and collective processing, and being able to do that openly. One of the first encounters that we had with this after our first meeting was actually me attending one of Ariel's screenings for the documentary that she'd been really using as a centerpiece for cultivating conversations around so many of the isms, right? Let's just call it that. So many of the isms. And so being able to step into one of those arenas with her and watch her facilitate this conversation around, in this particular group, it was around race, and it was around poverty, economic hardships, and perception. What does it look like when you see someone for the first time? You're bringing your own perceptions to the table, your own assumptions, and they are also doing the same. And so when we thought of this action, we envisioned, what does it look like for us all to collectively, intentionally engage with people who are very different than us, and even specifically those that we would have otherwise avoided. And so just kind of, and you can read this for yourself, but ultimately we want you to go engage with 3 to 4 people that you've never spoken with or would have never spoken with. Obviously this requires some courage and some bravery, and so we're aware of that, but thus is revolutionary listening, right? And collective processing, and being able to process other people's experiences while holding that safe space for yourself, but also holding that safe space for them and what they're sharing as well. And so we'd ask that you, or Ariel, did you want to add anything before I?
Yeah, I just want to talk about this. Like, I've been using this phrase revolutionary listening for quite a long time now. And I want to just give a little more context to it and define it a little bit. And actually, I kind of want to show you, we want to show you 2 videos as well. I'm going to show you a quick video that's the trailer for my documentary series, which will give you a little insight into the work that I do from a space of revolutionary listening. And when I say revolutionary listening, what I mean by that is it's listening. I kind of joke that I become a big ear, but it's listening from a space where you actually can set aside your identity as far as all of your own labels or the way you see yourself or perceive yourself, to be present so deeply with another person that you can actually see and hear them, not through your own filter, but as they are. And so this is something that I realize I kind of just have a gift for doing, and I do it pretty naturally, but I realize that it's not necessarily the typical or the norm. So I sort of call it this way because I think that when you start listening from that deeper space, what also happens is you start listening deeper to yourself. And there's a revolutionary part it's a revolutionary act to listen deeply to your own inner voice and your inner calling, and to stop numbing out or avoiding or dissociating from what is happening with you also as you're listening. So it's about being present in such a deep space for both yourself and the people you are with. And so that's what it takes for me to be able to make my films. And I'm just going to show you a quick 1.5 minute trailer, and then we'll talk a little more about the action. And let's see if I can share this screen. Okay, you see the screen? And this is how I met Michael, actually, too, he came to one of screenings of my first film in this series. So can you all see this? Oh, and hold on, I'm gonna unshare it for a second because I realized I did not click the video thing that will make you be able to hear it. So hold on, share sound, that would be helpful. There we go. Oh my God. Nope, I'm not gonna be able to do this, you guys. It's not meant to be, but what I will do is I will share a link to it so you can watch the trailers. But essentially, Zoom gave me an error message. But essentially, I have been able to interview people from literally all walks of life, in many of whom I do not share the same politics with, or the same worldview, or the same gender, or the same, name it, right? Race, whatever you want to say that might seem and make us think that we're so different, we have nothing to say to each other. And yet there is a deeper connection of just our shared humanity and our interdependence and the way that we show up for each other. And I see that in Lashina and her work as well. I want her to share this amazing video that she has created about herself as well, so you know sort of who you're dealing with. Can you want to share yours, Lashina, since I can't make mine?
Sure.
Okay, and maybe I'll play with it while you're sharing your beautiful.
I'm also going to share sound and optimize for video. And can you guys see my screen? Perfect. Yes. Okay, here we go. One part of healing communities in Chicago is to tell the real story and allow people to see that they're not the only ones, where it's safe and where others can relate. That is the moment that I live for, because I want to encourage each individual, especially artists. My name is Lashina Williams. I am a Chicago native, and I am an artist. I paint, I'm a playwright, I'm a director, a producer, and most importantly, I am the founder and creative director of Sheen Creations. Sheen Creations was birthed out of my need for access to the arts growing up. My mom being in corporate America and my dad being a pastor, it became difficult for me to make an argument that being an artist was a viable way to make a living. Because in Chicago, geographically, the access to those sorts of projects are just not there. Now I want to provide that for an 8th grader, 7th, 6th, 5th. Now I want to provide that for even an adult who is reinventing themselves. Sheen Creations aims to create a platform for those that are in those underserved communities, those who are not seeing representation in their art classes. It's a platform for singers, dancers, actors, writers. Even if a young person says, hey, I'm not an on-stage person, no sweat. All they need to know is exactly how theater runs. There's so many jobs and so many opportunities in theater. This is a platform for them to nurture those gifts. If given the opportunity, the young people can learn more about what's available to them and get more knowledge on it. And then once they've gotten that knowledge, now they've got a platform to apply that knowledge. Tell me what your favorite part of camp was.
My favorite part of camp is theater. Dance, theater, and art. Art, singing.
Singing. How many of you guys enjoyed camp this summer? All of my productions have deeply impacted not only the audience, but also the actors, because it is personal and it is an experience. I've worked with quite a few Chicago artists. Some would include Ranting the Blues, Dandelion Theater. I produced my first production in August 2014. It was The Girl in the Closet, a true story about a young girl facing the challenges of her youth. The next production that I produced was The Holding Cell, and I produced the Authentic Arts Parade in collaboration with other teaching artists alongside Lively Stone Missionary Baptist Church. And so I'm hoping through Sheen Creations, starting in Chicago, young people who are in underserved communities, who attend schools where the art programs are being cut, that they will have access to the arts. They will have access to the opportunities to grow their own brands, to nurture their own talents and gifts, and also a platform to actually use the things that they've learned. With the experience I've gained from writing, directing, and producing these plays, we will inspire and educate the youth through the work that we do with Sheen Creations. Okay.
I love that. I love that. This is the second time I've seen it, Lashina. It's so good. And it just does. I was like, you know, when you know someone and you're like, I love her, I love Lashina. She's like one of my favorite people in the world. But then I saw that and I was like, oh gosh, I'm intimidated now.
Amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So
the video was incredible.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Layla. I appreciate that.
And Lashina,
this is what we need here in the southeast of United Kingdom. We need, our government needs more with our young generation. Yes, instead of being out on the street and getting in trouble, we need more things like that here.
I completely agree with you, Layla. I'd love to bring it there, actually.
Yeah. Lashina's working with working on an international, this is, you know, hopefully through this festival even you'll find more connections, but she's working on it. I don't want to speak for you, but like this international community of helping women to share their stories and creating plays and other art pieces through it. But this, you know, Layla, part of what we want to do today and do with you all for this shared action, I mean, how many of you, I guess I want to ask, how many of you knew about this ahead and came and did the homework? Anyone? Anyone know? If you didn't, it's okay. I'm just asking. It's not a test. So what we were hoping would happen, which didn't happen, and I mean, there's so much going on in all of our worlds, was that you would come today with interviews done, like having done this experiment. But that's okay. I'm going to reshare the screen for a second.
We did do
Yes.
one last week.
I saw it.
Yeah, this week we're planning on doing ours, like a couple multiple ones in LA with our group. And then yeah, that was one of the things we were gonna hopefully continue.
It was Layla who did it.
Yeah, Layla was Layla's interview. Okay.
Oh, awesome. That's so great. So I'm having trouble with screen sharing in general, Lashina. So you right now it's not letting me share anything. So I guess it's on you to share. But basically, we wanted you to go up to somebody that you have been potentially drawn to. I think a lot of it is about, you know, following energy. And when Lashina and I, you know, met, yes, there was like a conversation that was an easy entree, but energetically we felt drawn to each other and have continued to feel drawn. So we're not talking about going up to somebody, it takes courage to do that, but we're not talking about going up to somebody that you feel like totally this to. Don't do that. Go up to somebody that you feel drawn to and ask their permission to engage in a deeper conversation with them. And we're going to provide, I'm going to just link to this. You're going to provide some prompts for you, and, you know, obviously being respectful of their time and their privacy, but you can ask them at least 4 of these questions from below that are just good icebreakers. But the the work that you're doing, you want to have these questions maybe in your pocket, but you really want to focus on how you're being and your presence as you ask them. This is not about seeking information. This is about seeking connection. This is about practicing drawing somebody out and being present with them to hold the space for their story. So I am less interested in people coming back with a shared action that says, I know everything about this and I can recite it like a list, and more interested in the impact of the experience of deeply connecting and holding space for story, which is a practice that I feel like we could all, myself included, learn from and do better with in our world globally. And that is how I love, Michael brought this concept of building a bigger we, and I love that because, we are all connected and we are all interdependent. And so holding space, and that also means holding back your own urge to interrupt or to interject or to say what you think. Just listen. Now, if they ask you a question and they want to do that, fine, but practicing, I have found that it is often in those long pauses in an interview. Actually, my favorite moment from my Michael D. McCarty documentary is the longest pause in probably the interview that I had with him. And it is such a long pause, and he's taking a drink from a can, and you're just like, what is he gonna say? And it is the funniest moment in the film, and it is one of the most human moments in the film. So we have to be courageous enough to let there be space. Any questions so far? No? Are you trying to ask a question, Michael? You're muted.
Sorry.
And
Do you want me to share on I have some of the links, like the shared folder and everything. Do you want me to share them in the chat?
Yeah, that would be awesome. And here's what we want you to do with this interview. So it's not about, we were hoping that today, and I don't know if we don't really have the way to do breakout rooms here, it looks like, but we're hoping that maybe we could do some practice interviewing, but it's not about sharing the interview with us in this shared folder. It's about what comes up for you, what comes out of you because of the experience. So you might write a poem, you might do a skit, you might feel like putting on a crazy hat and contributing to that beautiful hat project, right? It's about what it brings up for you and what you can make with that experience, not necessarily about, because also we want to be mindful of privacy, right? So you might want to go up to somebody that you see every day walking down the street, and they might not want to be, their video might not want to be posted to an international festival. So we have to be respectful of that and not invade that privacy. Do you want to add anything, Luciana, that I'm forgetting?
No, I think you've really hit it on the head there. The importance of not just asking to get information, because that can feel intrusive, but definitely asking in a way that says that signals that you want to connect. And so I'll even be as bold as to say, not like that typical, hey, I've got this Black friend, that kind of lead in, but like more so like, oh, that's cool. You like to do this. I like to do that too. Can you tell me more about that? Right. And just being really engaging, practicing that active listening, right? Repeating back what someone says, making sure you heard it correctly, and then kind of moving on to the next couple of questions and feeling your way through. If you feel like I was going to go in one direction, but now I'm thinking it makes sense to go this way, the person feels like this is right, or the information that I'm getting, I'm really interested in, right? When you start peeking up in front of people about things that they're sharing with you, that only deepens the connection. And so as we're thinking about you getting the most out of this, it starts with you kind of opening up and challenging yourself to be present. And if some of those questions don't necessarily, kind of help you drive the conversation forward based off of where your conversation is going, then by all means, like allow yourself to be creative. You're like, hey, this is going somewhere. Let's talk more about your trucking company, or let's talk more about your grandma and the way that your history has impacted you. Let's talk about what it was like for you to immigrate here, or for you to be the first of your family to be born here, right? So whatever that is, whatever it's creeping up for you, as you feel your body getting more engaged and more connected and wanting to know more about this individual that you're talking to, allow that to lead you even more so into stepping into that, because what we hope you're able to do and create from the art is the transformation that happens because of that encounter.
Yes, because there's so much power in both sharing stories, sharing our own stories, but also in holding space for other people to share their stories. And there's a lot of healing in that. Do you have the capacity, Lashina, to show that clip that I posted, that I sent you through Vimeo? Because my thing is not letting me, but I just shared it with you. I shared it with you in the messaging. So I hope that, you know, you all will. Now, it may sound, the reason we're asking you also to do this with 3 to 4 people is because we also want you to have, it takes practice to engage in revolutionary listening. It takes practice to engage in presence. So I don't want anyone to go out there and do this once and be like, that was terrible. I didn't get anything. I didn't realize anything. I didn't experience anything. Do it several times. Be bold. And also, we're saying that we want it to be somebody that you know, that may be a stranger, but it could be a neighbor. It could be someone even in your family that you would love to know on a deeper level. That, you know, sometimes in families we hold roles, but we don't actually have the connections. So, you know, whoever it makes the most sense for you, but also there's that little bit of edge in you that's like, oh, gosh, this makes me nervous. I don't really want to do this. Sometimes that's the right person, because sometimes when we push our boundaries a little bit, that's where we have the growth. But again, not a person that you feel like, ugh. Go with trust your vibes on this too. Are you seeing the link, Lashina, or no? Yeah, okay, she's gonna show, yeah.
We were planning on, if you wanted to do it, Neasley elected to be interviewed today. If you want to show like it as an example.
Sure, yeah, we can totally do that.
If you want to do that or not.
I would love, what do you think about Lashina? We can totally do that.
Absolutely,
Okay.
I think that'd be amazing.
Okay, yeah, so let's show this my short little trailer for my series, and then we'll do that. I'm gonna mute myself.
Can you guys see my screen? Okay, good.
Married, and I got pregnant soon after we were disappeared.
I can go on details for hours about every single thing that happened during my torture. I still have it in my memory. I remember everything.
There's these guys, it was a gang, and they proceeded to beat the snot out of us.
People were forced to move from their homes and move to one of the incarceration camps.
120,000 Japanese Americans were sent to these camps. No one knew how long they'd have to stay there or what would happen.
I would have never came to the States, and that was not my choice.
They made a decision they had to make for their survival.
I joined in November of '68. Now I was a full-time member of the Black Panther Party.
I will do anything to survive up to a point.
There were only white cops. They just started cracking up. That's when I woke up.
You have to have those moments to make you who you are.
I ain't never been accused of being normal.
I know that there's a reason why I'm sitting here with you.
Belonging is finding that place where you belong.
I belong to so many things.
I found my place here.
The way I belong.
And I found my purpose here.
Is by building solidarity.
Thank you. It's been a while since I watched that. It's fun to watch. So Neasley, am I saying your name right? No, yes? Do you want to unmute yourself? Hi.
Hi.
Thank Thank you for volunteering. I'm going to actually ask everybody to do something maybe strange for Zoom. Could you all turn your video off except for Neasley? And I just want it to feel a little more intimate. And I think then we can concentrate on being big ears instead of, yeah. And Lashina, do you want to, this is like this is a big experiment. We've never done this before. Do you want to be on here too, Lashina? So we should both be. I have to admit, I usually interview people one-on-one, definitely not with an audience, definitely not being recorded live, and definitely not with a partner. So this is all a big experiment. Let's just take a second actually to breathe. I need to breathe. So everybody who's listening, if you want to just put your hands on your heart for a second. Neasley, if you want to do that as well. And just, if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, close them. If you want to keep them open. Just take a deep breath in, filling up your lower belly. Feeling that oxygen clear your head, and then breathing out with a big sigh. One more time, breathing in and out. Feeling when you're ready, opening your eyes, feeling that groundedness. So I'm going to ask you the first question. Maybe we can just take turns, Lashina. Does that sound good? What does Neasley mean?
Very interesting question. My mother loved romance novels. And so she was reading a novel, and the heroine in the novel's name was Neasley. And she says that every time she read my name, every time she read the name, I kicked. So the story is I picked out my own name. What does it mean? I don't know. I think it was, yeah, I don't know. It is a first. I think there is, as far as I know, a friend of mine met a Neasley in Switzerland about 10 years ago, who was much younger than I am. So, yeah.
Thank you. That's a beautiful story.
Yeah, so I'm so glad you mentioned that, Neasley, because of course the first thing I went was like, well, I want to go find out at least what they say it might mean. But in the meantime, while I am looking that up, because now I'm interested, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Haiti. Okay. Yeah. I was born in Cape Haitian, Haiti, which is the second largest city in Haiti.
Okay, my follow-up would be, Aria, because now I'm like, whoa. So what's the story? Do you mind sharing with me your story of how your family moved from Haiti to, well, are you still in Haiti?
No, I'm in Cali right now.
Okay. How's the story? What's the story of your family moving from Haiti to California?
Sure. So I moved from Haiti to New York. Yeah, kind of, sort of to New York. It's a very complex situation. As far as I know, my father was, so back in the 60s, 70s, my father worked for the government. He started out as a young man as a city controller, then he became a state controller, and then subsequently he became a part of a diplomatic corps of people that went down to Zaire. At the time, it was the French Congo. After his post ended, he went back. You go back, and I'm told, or he told me, that when you go back as someone who was sent on a mission, you have to be debriefed. You had to be debriefed by the then president, who was François Duvalier. He said he went in to be debriefed for a few days. He kept going in, he waited and waited and waited. So I think finally on the third or the fourth day, because for him to go be debriefed, he had to stay in the city. So even though he was back, he had not seen his family because we were still, we were in the other city. And it wasn't a easy round the corner type of a drive. So he had to stay in the city. And after a while, after a couple of days, he never got called in to the president's office. One of the commanders said, so he was complaining, I'm here, da, 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 da. One of the commanders says, well, if you really have to go, I can take your report. So he was like, sure. So he gave the report and went home to his family, to us. And my godfather, who was sort of higher up and than he was, came to the house and said, what have you done? Are you crazy? You have angered the president and now you are a marked man. So from that, my godfather concocted a plan to get him out of Haiti. And thank God there was no computers at the time. And so his diplomatic visa and passport were never revoked. So on that, he went to Canada and he lived in Canada for a while. And years and years, I have no idea how many years because I was still very young. Later, we were told, my brothers and I were told that we were going to go visit our father for a long weekend. So we left everything behind. We just had kind of like a small little suitcase. And that was how my brother and I got here. When we got here a month later, we were like, okay, when are we going back home? We don't like it here. And they were like, oh, yeah, you guys are staying. Yeah, we were about depressed for 6 months. We wouldn't eat, we wouldn't sleep. We were devastated because we hated it in Canada. So that's the story and how I got here.
Wow, I have chills all over. And thank you. That was, wow. I just want to say that because we're doing this publicly, you just never can tell, you never know what somebody's holding and what their story and how they got to be in this moment and who they are. And it's all of the bits of our stories that make up the whole story. And I guess I want to go back though for 1 second because I want to know more about you. And I actually want to know, you don't have to go in order, but I really do want to know if you know or mind sharing with us the story of your birth. Do you know the story of your birth?
No, not the actual story of my birth. What I do know is I actually spoke with my mom a little while ago about that. She was like, oh, I don't want to go back to that painful moment. So, right. So
it was a painful birth.
It was a painful birth. What I do know, she told me, is that after she came home, because those were the days where you were at the hospital for a long time. It wasn't like this in and out business they're doing now. I do know that after she came home, my father made sure that she had a nanny. So there was someone there. And of course, all the elders, the aunties, and, I believe her mother was still alive for a little bit after I was born. So when you're born in a place like Haiti, when you're married, like, you are not doing this alone. It's not this individualistic society as it is here. You are part of a community, and the community of women take care of you, right? You come home, they bathe the child. There is this bath that has to happen, this ritual that has to happen for the mother and the newborn that the mother can't do. There's just no way she can do it. So the women in the community are a huge part of that process. So I know culturally that's and I know that happened, but the nitty-gritty of me personally, like her going into labor, how long, she's not talking about that.
But you just shared something that says that it connects so much to what you just told us about your immigration story, because that the loss and the grief of that difference of community that you came from versus where you went, and literally the cold, from like the warmth to the cold, right? Culturally and every way, must have been really, really, really rough. So thank you. I just want to be mindful of the time. We have 1 minute left. I feel like we could talk to you for hours. And we just hit the tip of the iceberg. And I really appreciate you volunteering to offer your story. Lashina, do you want to say anything or?
No, I just
call
want to
anything
thank
out?
you again, Easley. That was amazing. And I absolutely want to know more about you. And I want everybody, as we're ending our time here, go ahead and turn your cameras back on. And I'm hoping that you guys also are noticing just how you can let the conversation flow, how the questions aren't meant for you to be married to them, but it's definitely meant for you to truly step into this experience with your whole self and join in that vulnerability with your guest, who is also sharing such important information. You know, we're getting some emotions here, so it's so important for us to make sure that we're actually getting consent, right? And so making sure that you're being aware of the type of conversation. So I'm really happy that we got to do this example, just so that you can see the type of conversation you're going to engage in, the type of emotions you could possibly feel, and those that you could possibly be pulling out of your interviewee. Go ahead, Ariel.
Yeah, I want to say too that so I don't know how many of you listening had an impulse to tell your own story or to interject something that was not related to what she was saying, but wanted to be about you. That is what we tend to do in regular conversation, and what sets this action apart and what makes it revolutionary listening is temporarily suspending your own stories to focus completely on that other person and I don't know, Nisli, I'd love to know, if we had more time, I'd want to know, how did that feel to be asked those questions and also to be received, hopefully in a way that felt like we were holding space. But I also want to point out, as you're creating whatever art you create out of this, it could be about your own story. You could say, I interviewed these 4 people, and what it brought up for me was my story. And that's perfectly a beautiful response to this action. So there's no one way that we're not looking for some product here. It's really about the process. And the shared action piece is just being willing to go outside of your comfort zone, to put aside your story and your stories about the other person too, temporarily, so that you can really live inside of the juiciness of somebody else's experience, temporarily. Yes, Layla. You're muted. You have to unmute. Can you unmute yourself? I can't hear you. There you go.
Yeah, here on No Labels, No Wars, they usually end at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so we're good. Yeah, we're on time.
Okay.
If anybody has any questions, you can feel free to reach out, and
Well,
I don't know how you're going to do that.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, Lashina, so much for leading us. We really appreciate all the time.
Awesome.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everybody. This was wonderful.
So for next week, we're going to be doing about a universal basic income. We're going to be launching a universal basic income lab in Finland. So people from Universal Basic Income Scotland will be here talking about that action for the festival, and that's going to be next Action Monday. If you have any questions at all about how to participate, please email the info email at nolabelsnowalls.net, and I'll put that in the chat as well. And if you have any questions for Lashina or Ariel, if Ariel or Lashina want to give their information, or just email me and I'll make sure it gets to them. But thank you so much, everybody.
Michael, where is Marcus?
He's on holiday here next week. It'll be
wow, nice.
So thank you so much, everybody. We really appreciate
I just posted my email, and you can also find me you can follow what we're doing, belongingintheusa.com. You can sign up for our newsletter and all that kind of stuff. Is my cat in the picture?
Yes. No, I did see it walking around. He's lovely.
Yeah, she's chilling with us. Yeah, I have 2 that she wanted to be a part of this action. She likes, We can
What
ask
are
her
their
her story.
names?
This is Masha.
Masha.
And then I have Princey, who, this is a mess, but I'm going to show you anyway. He's over there on the counter, sleeping on the countertop, taking up space. He's their brother and sister. So thank you so much, Michael, and Mary for hosting this and having us. And so our part of this is August 25th.
August 25th. And we're going to be revisiting just to check in with everybody where they're at, if they need any help along the way for these Action Mondays. We have about 2 or 3 coming up, I believe, till the actual event. So you're supported. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we'll make sure that so you can have your contribution for the festival.
I just want to say thank you, ladies, for, this interview. I was fine with it. I am a pastor and a chaplain, so talking to people is what I do.
And Lashina's in divinity school.
You are? Where are you?
I'm at Northwestern.
Okay, I went to Fuller. Yay. I mean, the minute you said James Cone, I already knew we were kindred spirit. I got that. I actually wrote it down so I can look up if any other conferences are coming up because, yeah, that's a must.
Well, thank you all so much. And yes, have a great rest of your week. Thank you all.
Have a great week, everyone. And congratulations, Lashina and REL. Great work.
Thank you.
Ainsley.